Pleasure it is to look out and see your beautiful faces and feel your beautiful light coming back at me. I can tell everyone's good, right? Good, I love it. Well, let's say hello to everyone watching us online and Facebook Live. Hello, live streamers. Well, if you have not gathered or if you're here without knowing where you are, we are the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles, and you are here for our Sunday morning celebration service. We come together every Sunday morning here at our home that we share with Congregation Cola Me in West Hollywood, to support each and every individual finding their personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. That's the vision statement here for our beloved community. We're a metaphysical, new thought spiritual community that welcomes and celebrates all aspects and all facets of life. And so, as I said before, we celebrate you finding your personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. What this means is that we honor you on your path and your journey of awakening to the power of the divine that resides within each and every one of you and me as well, and all of us. It's that power that we know in metaphysical terms as love, as light, as source, as God, as the thing itself, and the infinite itself. That's what we know it as. So today you may hear some terminology that's non-traditional as far as non-Christian-like, if that's what you're accustomed to hearing. But know that what we know in our philosophy and teaching is it's not necessarily the words that you hear, but it's the vibrational frequency that you both receive and process everything through in life and the development of your consciousness. Primarily here in this center at the Center for Spiritual Living, as in most centers for spiritual living around the world. We practice the teachings of Dr. Ernest Holmes, which wrote a book years ago that was published that's known as The Science of Mind. It's known as a philosophy, a faith, and a way of life. What it basically is distilled down to is that there's one power that exists in the universe. That's it, no more than that, just simply one. And that we both experience and express it through our thoughts, our beliefs, our actions, our reactions, and our interactions with life itself. And we get to experience our life as a result of the impersonal spiritual laws that exist in the world itself, bringing back to us a reflection of that which we're thinking, believing, acting upon, interacting, or reacting to. That's a lot to say, but it's really, that's what it is. So I'll let it be at that. My Diet Coke just kicked in. That's what just happened. So we're happy to have you here. And as our beloved founding minister, Dr. David Walker, used to say for the center over the many, many years that he was here and after he founded it 30 years ago, we welcome one and we welcome all. So we open our service every Sunday morning with a ritual, and that ritual is lighting candles. And today it's going to be a little bit different as last week's was, so open your mind to that. The individual that takes us on that journey is our practitioner of the day. That's Reverend Lenore Edney, who will be coming forward to doing that. Our illuminator today is Jesus Ernesto Reyes. I got it right. You guys know? I was practicing in the back, as well as our musicians, so please follow along.
Join me. Calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love, calling in the light, calling in the
Sunday morning, we perform a ritual called Calling in the Light. And as it is today is World Candle Lighting Day. It was first launched in 1997 in the U.S., and Worldwide Candle Lighting Day began as a small observance for all the children who have died due to sickness, accidents, or war. A quiet and elegant occasion, the holiday was established to honor these children and all their joy they brought to us during their short lives. Worldwide Candle Lighting Day occurs on the second Sunday in December. and is now celebrated across the globe. At 7 p.m. local time, people light candles for exactly 1 hour to remember their loved ones. This is believed to be the largest mass candle lighting on the planet. And Worldwide Candle Lighting Day creates a 24-hour wave of light as the ritual moves across each time zone. That's pretty awesome. The use of candles is an apt reminder that the flames of these young spirits will continue to inspire and guide us. So today, as we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples and all faiths, all sentient beings, come from the one great universal presence, which we call Spirit. The purpose of this ritual is to draw into our gathering this morning a conscious awareness of our oneness, including all the children being honored and the qualities we possess as complete expressions of the divine. The quality of the divine we use today in our ritual is called light. Let's use this acronym of the word light during this ritual to create the opportunity for each one of us to embrace our light in a more expansive way this day. And as Jesus lights the first candle, we begin with the letter L. L stands for light. And light is defined by Dr. Ernest Holmes, our founder, as this: in flashes of illuminations, the inspired have seen into the very center of reality and have brought back with them a distinct impression of what they have seen and what they have felt. A glimpse of this reality illumines the whole being with a flood of light. And we light the second candle for the letter I, which stands for illumination. In the book, The Science of Mind, it is referenced as inspiration reaching a cosmic state and a direct contact with the divine. The third candle we light is for the letter G, which stands for God. Synonyms for God are love, wisdom, intelligence, source, the first cause, the principle which is dependable, and the absolute. And as Jesus lights the fourth candle, it is for the letter H, which stands for healing. In metaphysical terms, healing is a mental activity, which means mind healing. To heal means to make whole. And the fifth candle we light is for the letter T, which stands for truth, which is defined as that which is. It is the reason, the cause, and the power in and through everything. It is the birthless, deathless, changeless, and is perfection and wholeness. And the final candle we light is known as the healing candle. And I ask you to take a moment and think of anyone you would like to put into the healing light, which includes yourself and all the children of the world, so that all may experience the eternal and everlasting love of the divine.
Please repeat after me. I am love.
I am love.
I am peace.
I am
in my heart. I am free. I am spirit. I am soul. All together we are whole. Calling in the light. A calling in the light. A calling in the light. Oh, love. A calling in the light. A calling in the light. A calling in the light of love. A calling in the light of love. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is.
And I welcome you to center yourself as we do a spiritual mind treatment and affirmative prayer. Light, illumination, truth. These are all synonyms for the divine. And that power and that presence, God, is everywhere present. It is the illumination within. It is the spark of life within. It is that love that is everywhere present. And as we come together to celebrate this day, here in this room and elsewhere, online, we know that the divine is everywhere where we are, and there's no place where God is not. So as this is revealed, it is the truth, and the truth of our own essence. We are spirit in animation, and our ears are open today. Our hearts are open, our minds are open, as Dr. Keith reveals even more of what it is that we are ready to unfold as that which is spirit and animation. We can't help but be that which is the divine ourselves. And as this day unfolds, we accept and know the truth of ourselves, that we are these perfect expressions of life. We are these perfect expressions of goodness, the manifestation of the divine by means of us. So we're raring and ready and able, and let's hit it. Let's hit it hard today, knowing that the truth is always revealed. And in that revelation is the healing. And as these words are said, they're lifted into that which already is. We let go, we get out of our own way, and we go straight forward into that which is nothing but perfection and divinity unfolding. We accept this truth, we let it be, and together, in gratitude, we say, and so it is.
And so it is.
I love it. Hit it hard. By God, do your spiritual work and hit it hard. I love it. You damn well better let your light shine. I love it, Sam. Like, oh, back in the Baptist church. Back in the Baptist church. All righty. So how about calling in the light with the undertone of Yuval and his saxophone? Quite beautiful. Thank you. Added a whole new dimension, sitting in the back just listening to that resonance. Thank you. This room does it justice as well, as do you, as a receptivity to that vibrational frequency of the saxophone moving out to you. All right, I'll shut up and move on. So it is now time for some more beautiful music from Amber, Yaron, and Yuval. Are you guys ready for that? Yeah. All right, take it away. Lycus. Amber Mercomes, along with Yaron Spiwak and Yuval Sorkin. Ooh. Ooh, right? All right, so on that note, I'm going to fly. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. All up in my house, I'm gonna let it shine. All up in my house, I'm gonna let it shine. All up in my house, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Out there in the dark, I'm gonna let it shine. Out there in the dark, I'm gonna let it shine. Out there in the dark, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. So the song that we just sang together takes its theme from one of Jesus' remarks to his followers in the book of Matthew. And this is what he said. Ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house. Let your light shine before men, that they may see your fine works and give glory to your Father who is in the heaven. Now, the parallel message to this is in Luke, and it's this. No man, and we know that that means anything transcendent of the human. It's all humanity, male, female, everything beyond, inclusive, exclusive, and in between. No human, when they hath lighted a candle, putteth it in a secret place, neither under a bushel, but on a candlestick, that they which come in may see the light. May see the light. This little light of mine, this little light of yours, we're here to let it shine. Amber just let hers shine. Would you agree with that? Yes. What we're being told in these passages from the great book, the Bible, is that within each and every one of us, there is a light. And our responsibility to that light is to shine it. To shine it from within out unto the world. The theme for this month that we started last week is the pathway of illumination. Today I'm going to talk about walking the pathway of illumination, but let's create a foundation that we also did last week to look at the term, the pathway of illumination, and break it down from a definition perspective. And the pathway is defined as a way that constitutes or serves as a path, a way of achieving a specific result or a course of action. But in psychology, it's known as a route, formed by a chain of nerve cells along which impulses of a particular kind usually travel. It's those impulses that I want to speak of today that exist within us, that is not necessarily the impulse of our nervous system, but the impulse of our divinity that is waiting to be called forth to take us to the next step, if you will, along the journey of our spiritual awakening. Remember, our vision statement for this center is supporting individuals finding their personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. And so that spiritual awakening is what we're talking about as we move along the journey of that spiritual awakening, and in so doing, finding our personal self-empowerment. It's from that place of personal self-empowerment that we're willing to let go of any fears or doubt or misgivings to stand before you and seeing this little light of mine. Now, I could say to you that I was nervous about coming up here to do that, but you all know me and you know that that would be a crock, right? If I went really in the back of my mind, there was a rhythm section going and I was going to dance a little, But using that as a metaphor, where in our life are we choosing to not shine our light? Because either A, we're not sure that it is within us waiting to be called forth into a greater expression of itself so that we may illuminate the way before us. The definition of illumination is this, in traditional terminology. Illumination is the light thrown on and reflected from an object, which then allows us to see it. Illumination is generally thought of as referring to the visible part of the electromagnetic spectrum, but can also both be infrared and ultraviolet light. The pathway of illumination is the journey that we take on our life of not only becoming spiritually awakened, but then feeling empowered in a way then by choosing to let our light out in a way that shines so brightly that everything that we see in front of us, that when it hits it, then the reflection that comes back to us is a reflection of that which we know ourselves to be. Well, how does that happen? Well, that happens, through choice. By choosing to know that what we're seeing before us is a reflection of the qualities of the divine that exist within each and every one of us. Now, I know I talk about them every Sunday morning. I'm going to quickly lay them out for you again today. In metaphysical terms, the qualities of the divine that lie within each and every one of us, and I believe within every sentient being, are peace, power, beauty, joy, light, life, love, and wisdom. So when we allow that light within us to come up and express itself through us, lighting the way before us, and we see that it's reflecting back to us as that, it's not because we are causing peace, power, beauty, joy, light, life, love, and wisdom to be in that which we see. It's because we're allowing the law of life to give us the space within our consciousness to choose to know that that which is, that which already is, always has been, always will be, the qualities of the divine, is just simply being illuminated back to us because we've moved anything that's contrary to that out of the way. We're choosing at a place where we choose beyond where we know that we're choosing. It's by allowing the wisdom of the divine to guide us on this pathway of illumination and getting our own personal opinions out of the way. Now, that might not be an easy journey. That might be very challenging, and yet it's what we're called here to do. In the year 2018, soon to be 2019, according to the Gregorian calendar, one of many calendars that has been used and is being used in the world, it is time that we know that we do not need to live in darkness, and that the light to guide us on our pathway of this journey of personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening is not one that we have to reach out and pull in us to light the way. It's already there. We just learned that it is a synonym for that infinite power, that one power that exists equally among all of us. We know that in this 21st century, do we not? And yet often we forget it. But imagine living in a time when one didn't know that. This Friday I went to the opening of the exhibit of the Sri Lanka exhibit at LACMA. And I was there with a very dear friend of mine, and we love to go in and view art and analyze it and give our opinions and our perceptions and all of that, which I believe is what art is all about, right? To both appreciate it and analyze it. And we were standing in this area, and if you have a chance to go see it, it's pretty fantastic as an exhibit. We were looking at these panels that were on display that had been taken from a Buddhist temple. And the Buddhist had moved into Sri Lanka many, 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 many years ago. At this particular time when these panels were created that had then been that are now taken from that and on this exhibit was somewhere in the 14 and 1500s, so quite a while ago. Actually, I'm sorry, it was 1,500 years ago, not in the 15th century. And so during this time, the artistry that had been commanded of them to put on the panels so people could see an illustration of what they perceived life to be like at the time were in two components, if you will. The bottom half had a representation of what the demons were in life, and the upper half had the representation of the deities. And it spoke to how during that time they were looking for the light because the darkness would appear. And my friend and I got into this deep conversation around why that was the case. And I said to her, well, that was the case because during that time, humanity would get up in the morning and there would be light. And before they knew it, the light would disappear. And then time would pass, and one little piece of light would come back, or many others, right? But that big light that was all around us would disappear. Then they'd go to sleep, hoping that it would come back, and what would happen? It would come back. So there was this belief that was developed in humanity that the light of life was leaving us. And we hoped it would return. But the reality is that's not what was taking place. It never moved. The truth is we were leaving it. Now that's a great metaphor for how we're living our lives, or potentially living our lives, to ask ourselves, are we aware that the light within us, that we are being called forth to shine not only for our own personal self-development and our own pathway of illumination, but for the pathway of illumination of humanity, is that the light never leaves no matter how the darkness may appear. So I ask you, why does the moon shine? Now, of course, I wanted to make a joke about moonshine there, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to move on, because that shines a whole other light coming from the south, let me tell you. So, why does the moon shine? Well, you know, the earth would be a dismal place without its bright, shining neighbor, the sun. But did you know, and I'm sure we all do, but today's a day for a reminder, that the moon would also be just another dull orb if not for the sun's rays. The moon shines because its surface reflects light from the sun. And despite the fact that it sometimes seems to shine very brightly, the moon reflects only between 3 and 12% of the sunlight that hits it. The perceived brightness of the moon from Earth depends on where the moon is in its orbit around the planet. The moon travels once around Earth every 29.5 days, and during its journey, it's lit from varying angles by the sun. Now, this movement of the moon around the Earth and the simultaneous orbiting of Earth around the sun accounts for the moon's different phases: full moon, quarter moon, etc. At any given point in the moon's trajectory around the Earth, only half of its surface is facing the sun, and therefore only half of the moon is lit up. The other half of the surface faces away from the sun and is in its shadow. The moon is at its brightest when it's 180 degrees away from the sun from our perspective. Picture the sun, earth, and moon in a straight line. At this time, the full half of the moon's surface facing the sun is illuminated and is visible from Earth. This is what's known as a full moon. At new moon, on the other hand, the moon isn't even visible from our vantage point. This is when the moon is between the sun and the earth, so that the side of the moon reflecting sunlight is facing away from Earth. Now, why do I share that with you this morning? Because this is an example of the light that exists within you and I. That the light itself never, ever, ever goes away. But as we walk the pathway or the journey of our life, depending on where we are in the moment to moment expression of it, then it depends on to the degree that we reflect the source of our light. And you and I get to decide, unlike the moon, how we choose to then reflect the light of source. How do we reflect the light of source? So just know that we have that opportunity. They're coming up for a reason. They're a little early, but it's all good, okay? So the thing that we get to ask ourselves is, how are we shining our light on the pathway of illumination? Of illumination. As Reverend Lenore stated earlier, that Dr. Holmes addresses illumination in this way: inspiration reaching a cosmic state. Now think about that for a second. The pathway of illumination, meaning that you are sending out your light, you are illuminating the pathway to the degree that you are inspired, and in so doing you reach a cosmic state. It is a direct contact with the reality of God. Now what I want you to think about right now is, what does that mean to you? The reality of God. Now, I can certainly stand here and give you, in metaphysical terminology, what the definition of the reality of God is, as a foundation or as a baseline, if you will. But what's important for you and I on this journey of our life, of our personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening, is to become intimate with what that means to each other, meaning to ourselves. What does it mean to you to have a direct contact with the reality of Source? He goes on to say it's a complete intuitive perception, meaning that it's based on what you, the individual, feels it to be. Remember, Ernest Holmes says that that spirit has placed the stamp of individuality upon itself and called it you. And so what that means is that there is to be not a prescribed methodology of how you get in contact with the reality of the divine, but that you get to allow that to mean something personal to you, and know that you know when you feel it, and in so doing, let that be the cause to how you express the light that is within you, ultimately illuminating the pathway before you. In other words, what he's talking about is it's important for you to let your little light shine. Now he goes on to tell us that this illumination, this reaching a cosmic state individually, this direct contact with the reality of the divine, is not only a complete intuitive perception, but is the self-knowingness of the divine through the human. Illumination in this way comes as the human, you and I, more and more realizes the unity with the whole, since the whole is at the point of the inner mentality. In other words, we can only reach this depth of knowing more and more of our unity with all that is, the whole, the source, the divine, through our mind. And it will be there, our mind alone, that we contact it. He goes on to say that the only God the human will ever know is the God of their inner life. Of their inner life. The pathway of illumination is what I'm speaking about today. Now, you may have heard that term before because it was referenced in the book Angels and Demons. And this is what's said about it. The Illuminati call their string of markers the path of illumination. And anyone who wanted to join the Brotherhood had to follow it all the way to the end. It was a kind of test. Now, in many philosophies and religions, we're taught that that power within us that gives us light is indeed testing us. It's hogwash. It doesn't mean that there are not markers or steps or demarcations along the way of your finding your personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening, but it's not because there's some power testing you to see if you're getting it right. It's just simply a result of your allowing yourself to be awakened to that power that exists within you, whose nature is perfection, wholeness, completeness, allness, and infinite by nature, meaning that there's not a beginning nor an end to it, and yet we feel that that's the case based on how we allow it to do its thing through us. But what we've learned, and using the sun and the moon as a metaphor, is that the light never, ever, ever goes away, no matter how far we may go away from it. And so today I invite you to open yourselves up to the spiritual truth that you have a light to shine. That not only do you have a light to shine, but it is innate within you, and you get to look at where you're at on the journey of the realms of consciousness or the evolution of your consciousness without any judgment. Dr. Michael Beckwith addresses them as the to-me consciousness, meaning that God is outside of you making things happen to you in your life. It's in this place that oftentimes we choose to become a victim. And you notice I said choose to become a victim. Process that however you want. Talk to me about it later if you want. The next step on that is the by me consciousness, not B-U-Y, but B-Y. This is when you evolve out of that state of victimhood. You begin to release blame, shame, and guilt and learn that the power that is within you, that there is that power within you, and that there's a law that you can use to effect changes and then claim dominion over your life. Now, I want to be really clear, he's not saying that you claim control. He says that you claim dominion. What is the difference? The difference is surrendering to the journey, to the rhythm of life, knowing that there is nothing that can happen to you, that which is within you can't guide you to be transcendent of the effect that showed up. You guys get the difference? That's not trying to control it. That's just allowing, knowing that you are greater than any experience that comes through you. In this state of consciousness, you use the law effectively, which then allows you to evolve into the through me consciousness, which is when you just simply let go of control. That you've learned to establish the dominion over your life, and you've built strong life structures for yourself, and you begin to realize that there's more to life than just simply that activity of trying to have the dominion over your life or claiming that. It's in that moment, as I said earlier, you begin to surrender to Spirit and let it use you. You let it use through you. It's in that moment that you allow, or that conscious, that you allow the indwelling presence that is within you to use you as the instrument for its expression. In other words, you let the light that is within you use you to shine itself out unto the world. But you can only do that when you let the little light within you shine in the darkness, in your house, in your life, every single where you go. The last realm of consciousness is the as me consciousness. And that's the consciousness where you release any vestiges of separation between you and the power and realize that you have a complete identification with the light itself, whose synonyms are God and source and the thing itself. And as I've said before, and I'll say again, it matters not what you call it. Call it Beulah. It doesn't matter. It doesn't change its nature. But if Beulah is its name to you, call it often and often and often. Why? Because it's through that process that you gain that dominion and you diminish the darkness that seems to be showing up, dimming the light, but it's not. The light's not dimming. You just are choosing to not let it shine through you. It's in this state, as Jesus said, when they see me, meaning when all of life is seeing you, they see he that sent me. Not he, some man in the sky in a marble chair, or even a man on a bar stool. But it's that what they see when they see you is the light within you shining. Today is the day that we each get to not only commit to ourselves, to let our light shine brighter and brighter and brighter, but we consciously choose to make a covenant with ourselves. That no longer shall we live in the past, allowing any darkness to be a part of who we are. And we no longer hang on to what is to come in anticipation that it's better than what was, but just simply live in the moment, as Thich Nhat Hanh tells us is the only moment we have. And in that moment, open ourselves up to shine our light, and to shine our light, and to then shine our light. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, everybody stand up. I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it think that's what Reverend Lenore told us to do earlier, right? Go hard. You guys feel like you hit it? Went hard? Good, thank you. So now is the time for us to let our light shine through the opportunity to give financially of our good to the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. And so I am going to invite the ushers to come forward, and know that the methodology for giving here is through cash, through check, through credit cards. If you'd like to give through the credit card, you can do so at the back with Sandy, I believe. Are you they're on the table today? So you can give to Sandy. Or you can go to our website if you're watching us online or at any other time, which is csl-la.org, or hit us in the App Store, which is CSLLA. And so, feeling the energy of the song that we just sang, letting our light shine, please take that which you're giving today and place close to your heart. If you did it electronically, as I am, you'll see that I'm putting my mobile device there. And just close your eyes, please, and feel that energy. And begin to see that which you're giving as light. And now release it out into the universe. Seen it become the star in the sky as the baby Jesus and his crew saw years ago. Trust and know that the light that you see in the sky is the light that is within you. And the good that you give is a reflection of your understanding that you're one with nature. And so you give with deep conviction and confidence that it returns. When you're ready, please repeat after me. Today is the day. I give. I give to myself, the freedom to live a more abundant life. Today I consciously give. And I am grateful for my awakening. And so I give, trusting and knowing that it returns to me, multiplied abundantly. And so it.
There's the gift to be simple, there's the gift to be free, there's the gift to come down to where we ought to be. And when we find ourselves in a place just right, you will be in the shadow of love and the light, where true simplicity is gained. To bow and to bend, we shouldn't be ashamed. To turn will be highlighted by turning, become round right.
Yeah. So our musicians have a second song for us. It's a music-filled morning. So I welcome, well, they're already here. So this is one of my favorite songs of all time. Please enjoy.
When I think of home, I think of a place where there's love flowing. I wish I was home, I wish I was back there with the things I've been knowing. Wind that makes the tall trees bend into leaning. Suddenly the raindrops that fall have a meaning. Sprinkling the scene makes it all clean. Maybe there's a chance for me to go back
And I think we need to say our thank yous now for everybody present, and most certainly for Dr. Keith. And then for our illuminator, Jesus, where is he here? Yay! And for the practitioner, that's me. And I'll clap to that. And to our setup and audio team, Bob Swolinski, Jesus Ernesto Reyes, Erwin and Lila, and to the welcome table, Santi, Rovetta, and to our musicians, my gracious goodness, what a gift you have given us. To Yaron, our co-music director. To Amber Mercomes, and I want to say that you need to go and do opera.
I do.
Yes. Oh, all right. And you've all, oh my goodness, thank you so much for the magic. Yes. And the board member today is Matt Fonda. And as you know, if you have comments, it's always good to put a little bit of freshness into those ideas you have, constructive. Balance that out with love and acknowledging the love that's going on right here in this space. And now on to those things called announcements. Wednesday morning he has the guided meditation from 8 to 8:30, and the information is in the weekly email and also on the website and the app. Dance class, woohoo, Friday mornings. Dance with Walter Painter, every Friday morning at 11:30 at the Hollywood Dance Center. The charge is $15, and that information is also with the email and with the website. And our holiday service this year, our Christmas service, will be Sunday, December 23rd, and it's the regular time frame. Today at 3 p.m., let's join Congregation Kolami as we pack kits for the homeless and for the PATH organization. Also, you can make a financial donation or items as noted below, and there's a whole list. You want me to read them all?
No.
Nah, thank you. So go to the website for links to past Sunday celebrations and for past meditations. It's a great way to get it in when you can't get it in on Wednesday morning. Practitioners, please stand, all of you who are practitioners. They're up here. Jody's back there. Joanne's back there. I'm here. This is it? I think the rest of them have been on vacation. Just to let you know that we're available for you in the back of the room near the music, where the music gear is. So should anybody want a spiritual mind treatment, affirmative prayer, we're welcoming you to do so. And please visit our website, which is www.csl-la.org. And join us on the Facebook, in the group. Thank you. It's Center for Spiritual Living, so it's easy. And follow us on Instagram. And that's where I follow my grandchildren. Center for Spiritual Living on Los Angeles. It's super easy. And then watch the promo video on social media. And it's all good. And our e-newsletter, if you would like to receive the weekly newsletter, please sign up at the welcome table, or you can do so by going to the website, www.csl-la.org. And I invite everybody to stay afterward to enjoy the fruits and pastries and coffee and camaraderie. And then Reverend Keith is coming back to do a closing mind treatment. And bless.
Thank you, Reverend Lenore. Sorry, didn't mean to scare you. Thank you, Reverend Lenore. I love you too, baby. So who here is planning on coming back this afternoon? So, okay. because I went and purchased a whole bunch of stuff for that, and we support all the assistance we can get here at 3 o'clock, and then there'll be some celebration of Hanukkah, I believe, after that. So we look forward to having you there. Yes, and also you'll see in the lobby there's a table right as you come in that's got holiday cards on it, and this is part of a project that we've been asked to participate in from someone at the Center for Spiritual Living in Menifee Valley, and it's called Prayers for Paradise, and they're asking that we complete holiday cards to send to those that have been affected by the campfire. And so I've bought some cards that you can all go in and sign little notes and put your name in, as well as they'd like for people to send a nominal cash donation that goes with that if you would like. And so Sandy has an envelope that will take the money so that it's all in one place. And then feel free, there's pens out there to write in the cards. We'd love to fill those, and then we'll address them and send them off where they need to go. As well as that information will come to you in an email throughout the week as well if you want to do that on your own. All right. So thank you all for a beautiful Sunday. It's been great to spend time together, and trust that you guys have enjoyed it and have been inspired as well as those of you watching us online. So, and we want you back to seeing opera with us, as well as all of you. And the next time they're back, I believe, Yaron, you and I both have to wear some color, some aspect of aubergine as well, since they did, and they match our banner, right? So it's a great line from the movie Steel Magnolias. I'll let it go. All right, so let's close with spiritual mind treatment. Home. It's where the heart is, they say. Heart is the symbol for love. And love is the self-givenness of spirit whose desire is to create and manifest more of itself out of itself, and the only way that it can do that is through the self. And so I know for each of us in this very moment that we honor that covenant and commitment that we've made at a very deep level, whether conscious of it or not, to release from within any obstacle or block that is preventing our light from illuminating our pathway in the brightest way possible. That we move deeper into our covenant and commitment to do our best to stay present in the moment. To believe that this little light of mine begins to not only illuminate the way, but gets brighter and brighter and brighter, reflecting its source to the magnitude that is possible. And so it's with a deep sense of faith and gratitude that we move forward, remembering that Spirit has indeed placed the stamp of individuality upon itself and called it us, each and every one of us. And this is true of all of humanity and all sentient beings. And so today is the day that we move forward being kinder, being more respectful, being less judgmental, being more giving. Today is the day. We let it be, as we say together. And so it is. Thank you. Have a great Sunday. Hope to see many of you later this afternoon. Enjoy the pastries, and hallelujah. Thank you.